It is Tuesday, March 11th, just around 6:45. It's around 6:45. Um, I'm gonna Mr. Rogers for a second. I just saw I forget it. I saw my shoelace was untied, but forget it. Boy, oh boy. All right, this is usually the side that I do this on. So let's switch over here so I can look outside. Hey, Dave. Boy, do you have a lot of stuff. Not a lot. Crazy day, as my hair can attest to. Gorgeous, boiling outside. Boiling. 65 degrees outside. New issues to take in. So much rearranging. I'm really, as I said yesterday, really trying to get the last few things done. So today, I'll get to my problems in a second. But today, I tried to do was focus on getting posters and signage that I've cleaned up. Yeah, I figured you'd be at Mocha first. That I cleaned up out. So like I put up this little sign for anthologies over here. I took this picture from the Walt Whitman adaptation and put it with the literary adaptations. I rearranged the mess over here so it's a little bit less of a mess. I did a lot of that stuff. I even put up a bunch of posters and signage and things that I had. And hey Joe, that I had meant to, but I haven't. So I'm not going to show those off. I'm going to leave those to be discovered, explored in the shop. But I'm pretty happy with what I've put up so far. There are still some blank spots that I'm not sure what's going in. There's still a whole like giant mess of posters and display things that I want to display, and I'm not sure where I'm putting them. So the problem today, well, there's twofold. First, we'll do with the nitty-gritty comic distribution problem. Nitty-gritty comic distribution problem is somehow, and I really don't know how, my Marvel final order cutoff for February 12th doubled. My final order on every Marvel, only Marvel, but every Marvel book that I ordered from Penguin Random House, I got twice as many copies as I would normally get. So something that I was going to get one copy of the shelf, and I get 6 copies for people, right? So I was going to get 7 copies. I got 14 copies. And when I looked at the order, and the order says 14 copies. So I sent it to Penguin Random House, and I said, I don't know what's going on here. It says that's what I ordered, but that's not what I would have ordered. Please help. And then I went and looked for that FOC to see, what happened. That's when I learned that only my Marvel stuff went through. And that's also when I learned that was the FOC for Fantastic Four vs. Godzilla. Now, if you recall, Fantastic Four vs. Godzilla, written by Ryan North, taking place in the 60s, first book in the Marvel vs. Godzilla series. Very excited for. I ordered like 3 times what we would normally sell, just in case we still ended up doing an event or last minute we did something. So I ordered 100 copies of that. But now, because that whole FOC is doubled, I ordered 200 copies of that. I don't know what to do. So Penguin Random House's office hours are over. They were in the middle of looking into this for me. Now I'm screwed. Tomorrow I will find out if they'll let me send some things back. I had a similar thing happen with our DC order. They sent us the wrong thing. 8 copies of the new reprint of Batman Adventures 12, First Harley Quinn, became 8 copies of a trade paperback that we didn't order from them. So, yeah, thank you, Joe. It's a little horrifying. The only thing that I can think of that's somewhat heartening is if I'm stuck with it, I will be getting a whole ton extra of variants because those were all doubled. It's not really reassuring to me, but maybe we'll be able to turn around and sell the Galactica Peach Momoka cover for crazy money. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. If I get told by Penguin Random House that I absolutely have to take these and there's nothing they can do about it, then I will probably put a bunch of the variants up for sale. Anyway, I had said that the day started weird. The day started weird because I have been reading in between my graphic novels and my comics. I have been reading. I mentioned this earlier. One of my favorite authors of all time, probably she's like the Zeus in my pantheon. The great Ursula K. Le Guin, the incredible science fiction and fantasy writer who words can't even begin to explain, but we're going to explain a little bit why Ursula is so important. But I'm reading Five Ways to Forgiveness, which I read when I was 15 and again when I was like 25 as Four Ways to Forgiveness. They reprinted it. I discussed this a few days ago. They reprinted it with an added story that fits in the thing. I don't know how much those of you know about Ursula K. Le Guin. Trust me, this is going somewhere. This is leading into stuff about today's new books. We're going to look at over a dozen new books in just a minute. I don't know how much those of you know about Ursula K. Le Guin, but Ursula K. Le Guin's big thing was that her husband and her father and her original studies were all, her father's sociologist, the famous Charles Kroeber, her husband, I forgot his first name for a second. David Le Guin was also a huge sociologist, and she always approached her science fiction and fantasy settings from a sociological perspective. That's why one of my favorite books of her, Always Coming Home, looks at the future, 4,000 years in the future, after a nuclear holocaust and the rebuilding, how society would form directly from a sociological point of view. Just a stunning work. And that's what she always does. In her current book, that I'm reading, Five Ways to Forgiveness, the one I'm currently rereading, it's about societies forming. It's two planets. One was like a slave planet to the other. It's a whole thing, but it's very much about, as Ursula always does, what could be if societal values came from a different direction. If they were not obsessed with dominance, but rather care, or they're and these books are just making me so sad, because these short stories, I guess I should say, in the book, because it's not the world we're living in. It's really not. These are incredibly beautiful stories about people who care, changing ills of the world or changing ills within themselves that allow them to help other people. I know what's going on in the world. I know that there's nice people and good people out there, but currently in the United States of America, in March of 2025, things are bleak. And it doesn't make me feel hopeful, because she wrote these stories in the 70s. She wrote these stories 60 years ago saying, hey all, 50 years ago, whatever. Hey all, we could, maybe be better if we approach things this way. And she was lauded for it. The collection of Five Ways to Forgiveness that I'm reading right now is the American Library Association, the giant, it's like book 4 of the Ursula K. Le Guin collection. Oh, this is the stuff. This is... I read a bad clone of a photocopy of a picture of Ursula's ideas in the kind of stuff that Brandon Sanderson writes. He's really tried to move, especially in his Stormlight books, into psychological and sociological healing and issues rather than fantasy venture. But here's where we get to the books. Hey, Mark, here's where we get to the book that we're talking about this week. It's not Le Guin, because in Le Guin, we create a world where the situation is different, where it's not that, oh, it's a bunch of fighting, but we're not going to fight. It's a world where fighting is not the solution. Fighting is not what, new subscriber, wonderful, is not what we're going for. And that's one of the things that Ursula aimed for very heavily in the great Wizard of Earthsea, which Fred Fordham's graphic novel edition came out. The executor of Ursula's estate wrote a post on Instagram about how this adaptation was something Ursula was okay with, but didn't have the... Mark, the point is that it's seen as the problem and the solution. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to get distracted for a second. Fordham, kind of famous for doing an adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird that was actually very popular. I hated it, but I love Fordham's art. I just felt that the way his storytelling worked. It added a seriousness, a weight to Kill a Mockingbird that I think the book does a great job of avoiding. But like right here, right this moment right here is why this is the book that I ordered the most of this week. The whole scene in the courtyard, the whole scene of Nemeril meeting Sparrowhawk is about how white, how bright, how from the hall he gets closer and closer to the light, and how blinding it was to be on Nemeril. And look at what he did about the layout on this page. Just fantastic. But why is A Wizard of Earthsea important? A Wizard of Earthsea was Ursula K. Le Guin's anti-fantasy. Oh, definitely, Marga. It's one of my issues with Fordham is it's very cinematic. I didn't like that for To Kill a Mockingbird, but I think it really works beautifully in this. A Wizard of Earthsea is a fantasy epic adventure without external conflict. Sparrowhawk, the main character, messes something up due to his own pride, and the rest of the book is him running away from that problem and eventually confronting that problem. And that is the entire book. Yet it is a great, incredible fantasy epic. It is a huge inspiration to many. It led to tremendous changes in the fantasy genre, and Fordham has really captured a lot of the beauty of what makes Ursula's book so great, and that is why it is our big push this week. Definitely add it to your pull or hold if you haven't already. Assassin and Cinderella is a cute, well, here's the way I was pitched to me. It's Spy X Family if Lloyd and Yor actually got together, which is really fun. It's a little ecchi, it's a little sexy, but it's also quite romantic and cute. Nari Complex Volume 3. Oh, there we go. Volume 3 in stock. Botticelli's Apprentice, a beautiful book by another Ursula Husted, all about a girl who is studying Botticelli's work secretly. Wicked, the graphic novel adaptation. I believe this is going to be a 3-part adaptation of Gregory Maguire's novel, Wicked. Let's go to the beginning. Look, this is so much truer to the way Maguire wrote the book with his ornate language. And yeah, there's the clock. I love this. I love this book. I haven't seen the show, but I love this book. This graphic novel adaptation looks really good, but we did not get tons. One of the things that came late last week, Initial D, Volume 5. Some other things that came late last week, Superman Space Age, a wonderful Superman graphic novel by the incredible Allreds with Mark Russell. What does Superman do if he knows that the world is coming to an end in 20 years? Astonishing X-Men Volume 2, Unstoppable. This is when Astonishing X-Men stops being a exercise in what has been done with the X-Men and starts doing some new stuff. And the DC Finest Plastic Man collection, the earliest police comic stories with Plastic Man. Those were late. Now they're here. Oh, Dark Crystal. That was also late, but that's Diamond late. We're used to it by now. You Must Take Part in the Revolution, a graphic novel about standing up for what's right. The current X-Men run, Jed McKay's X-Men, first 6 issues, Homecoming. Michael DeForge's new book, Holy Lacrimony. And My Adventures with Superman. The comic sequel takes place between season 1 and 2 of the show. Lastly, we have Anders Nielsen's exceptional Tongues. Oh, I can't even start to tell you what Tongues is about. Tongues is an insane work about death, life, rebirth, destruction, and what it is to suffer through a war zone. It's an exceptional tale, gorgeously told, and if you're looking for a work to absolutely fall into and fall in love with, Tongues is definitely the one. For a very limited time, we do have signed book plates that come with these, so definitely let me know if you want a copy of Tongues so I make sure you get the book plate. I think that's everything that's new this week. Last week we had 20 or so books, but this week we've finally cut it down. I'll also remind you all that we are closed. Oh, good, Dave. So tell him that we're stocking tongues. Tell him we love his work, and I've been stocking it since it was in single volumes, and now we've got the hardcover. I don't know if that makes him happy. Then I'm happy to make him happy. Tomorrow we'll look at the new single issues. There will be a whole bunch of new single issues. I really do think after the intense amount of work I've done in the last 2 days that we're beyond the home stretch. We're here. The shop is basically how it's going to be. There's just a closet full of stuff I need to rejigger, a little area over here I need to fix, and then the final cleaning, moving all the posters that are on the floor and put aside where they go or not where they go. So I think we're doing really well. The real problem is that we don't live in Ursula K. Le Guin's world. We do not live in a world where people care and help their fellow man and want to spread empathy and joy. So I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know what's going on with the price of comic books. I don't know what's going on with the price of graphic novels. I don't know what's going on with Free Comic Book Day. Diamond is shipping us Free Comic Book Day books. As soon as they get them, they're shipping them out to us. Boom. They just right away because they need the money that bad. Penguin Random House and Universal, my DC, Mad Cave, etc. They're going to ship them out in the end of April, like they normally do. So I don't know what's going to be with that. I don't know what's going to be with this May 4th. May the 4th be with you, Mark. Or May 3rd everywhere else, but we're May 4th. I don't remember the details. But it's the first Sunday in May. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how we're gonna keep going. I'm a little nervous. I'm a lot nervous. I'm quite concerned about these Marvel duplicates. Here's an idea of the Marvel. This is the Marvel stuff that would go on the shelf if I had gotten my normal order. And these are my duplicates. You see this? So this is the concern. And next week it's going to be a lot worse. A lot worse. So I have to see what happens. I have to see what I'm told by Penguin Random House. But if I have to eat that stuff, it's going to be pretty interesting. Maybe I'll just put all these variant covers on eBay. Those Dark Shadows novels are shipping out. They shipped out just the other day, Joe. I'll probably have them before the end of the week. All right. I am going to go make sure that I actually do have room for all the books that I arranged room for. I don't know if I'm going to put all that Marvel stuff out because I haven't heard back from them yet. So that's going to be fun. Yeah. Until tomorrow when we look at all the new single issues. And I'm sure there's other stores that I can find that take my overstock, Dave, but that's a whole bunch of work I wasn't planning on doing. So I have to wait till I hear back from Penguin Random House in case maybe they say, oh, ship it back. The Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four, I'm not even that concerned about 100 extra copies of the regular versions of the book. I can make it 25% off because of a mistake, and I bet a bunch of people buy it because it's Fantastic Four and it's Godzilla, and then I'll sell it all summer as a special deal. But the variants I'm concerned about because I didn't know what I was going to do with the 1 in 100 variant as it was. So 2 of those, I'm really not sure. Anyway, highly recommend you get some Ursula K. Le Guin up in your brain, and tomorrow we will look at all the new single issues. Until then, remember, damn it, babies, you gotta be kind.